And I was like, I don't know, I'm scared. And sure enough, I did it. So I sit down and she's like, tell me a little bit about yourself. So like I told her like the very just bare minimum, like, I do makeup artistry. I do this, I do that. That's it. And she tells me, well, you better stop doing that because you're not meant for this. And I was like, oh, like, what do you mean? Like the modeling, like, is that what she's talking about? And she was like, no, like, of course, like if you enjoy that, do it, but you're not meant to do any sort of like makeup artistry work. You're meant to be an actor. And I was like, it was so funny because I was like, girl, you're so like, yeah. And I was like, I'm probably getting scammed right now because I've never even like, that's never even crossed my mind acting ever in a million years.
Wow.
I'm too shy to do that. So I was like, okay, like, sure. That was kind of like, okay, whatever, like, tell me more. And she just like, the more she tells me, she kind of starts telling me stuff that like, obviously I didn't tell her, things that I was like, okay, like, wow, I'm kind of relating to her on a lot of things. And she tells me like, just trust me when you get home, try to figure out a way to audition for some stuff. Just trust me on this. You can come back and tell me that I was right. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So I get home and I was like, let's see. Let's test it out. So I downloaded Backstage.
I love Backstage.
I love Backstage.
For real.
So I downloaded Backstage when I got home and I auditioned for a couple things. And then I heard back from a couple people. And I started doing like small shoots here and there. And I discovered like, I really like this.
Yeah.
I was like, she was right. And then I started doing more and more. And then I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And something that did stick out to me, she told me, if you do start acting in June or July, you're going to be asked to be on like a really big show. Now, I don't know like what you're going to do on this show, but you're going to be in a really, really big show. And she was like, it might be like HBO or like Netflix or something. And I'm like, wow, it's kind of like crazy. Like, and that was like in 2 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I just start acting today, there's no way I'm going to get like an HBO show in 2 months. Like, come on now. Sure enough, I go on Backstage and I booked, of course, it was a background role, but I got a background role on that HBO show. What was the name of it? It was like Westworld.
Yes.
And I got it within 2 months.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, it was Westworld.
Our running joke is that Tati drops new lore every Tuesday.
The Playroom Podcast. Don't panic, it's organic.
But, okay, like, and that's what we look like.
My cough. Like, okay, queen.
That's funny.
That's so hilarious.
Okay. I like it. Oh, we rolling. What kind of coffee did you get?
I get the same thing. It's the iced oat vanilla latte.
There you go. You're huge.
They used to have an iced rose latte, but then
Where'd you go?
Ideology. But for some reason, like they keep like it goes out of season and like all that. It's really depressing, but it's okay.
It's
like,
really depressing.
It's really quite sad. But
I literally, we're not on, right? We are? Oh, hi.
Hey, what's up?
I love that you came. I don't hear myself.
Really?
So are the things on?
The Dre Goldie Show.
The Dre Goldie Show. Let's see.
You do need like your own like talk show, like some Wendy Williams. You need that.
This is I can hear myself. It really makes like all the difference. Yeah.
But I think you should like on some Ellen, like you need like your own like talk show.
Well, here we are.
Yeah.
We got this one.
I love it.
The Playroom Podcast with Dre Goldie.
Dre Goldie.
Interestingly enough, I had an ex, very toxic situation. And he one time told me, like, I don't know what I was saying. I don't know if I was trying to like give him advice or something. And he was like, you'll never be Oprah. Stop trying to be Oprah. And I was like,
why was he so mean?
You know how people are when they have their own internal things and then they get into a relationship and then they just project it on you.
Well, look where you are now.
Look where
like,
I am
who knows
now.
where that guy is? Like,
Yeah. Quién sabe? I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know where that man is, nor do I want to. But genuinely, I'm like, best of luck to everybody from the past.
And that's a really sweet way to look at it. I feel like sometimes I can I don't know, I can be kind of like, whatever, I hate them, like bye. But then like I hear my other friends say like, no, peace and love. Like it is what it is. And I'm like, no, I think it's the Leo in me.
You're like revenge to everyone.
Maybe not revenge, but maybe more just like, no, I hate them. I never want to see them again. Like,
yeah,
I can definitely hold a grudge. Like, are you like that?
So I feel like in my day-to-day, no, but then sometimes, like here and there, that feeling creeps up on me, and I'm like,
think about it, huh?
Motherfucker, you really did that to me, and I was being so nice, But I try my best not to hold a grudge because I really sit in the fact that my life is so beautiful now, and like I really do hope most people get to have a beautiful life so they never like start to inflict and project all the pain that is going on within them onto anybody else. Like I think that's where I stand. Like I hope everybody grows from like whenever I met them so they can be like nicer to the people after me.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's like the greatest revenge of all, like just living a good life, and they can see that and be like, wow, I missed out because I was not a good person.
Yeah. And I do kind of struggle with the idea of like, do people actually change? I don't know. I feel like some do, some don't. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, like I think about that all the time because I do know a lot of people that kind of like how we were talking about earlier, like there's a certain friend of mine that, sometimes they say things where like, it's probably not the kindest. And then I had a little conversation with them. Keep in mind that was years ago, years and years ago, never happened again.
Okay.
It's like, I think like you can only change if you really want to.
That's true.
If you don't want to, then you're just not going to do it. But it is kind of rare.
Yeah.
Because some people are just so set in their ways that it's like, damn, like I don't think you're ever going to change, even if you try. Like you're just so like that's how they were raised. That's like their brain chemistry at that point.
That's very true. Because I would like to think that people do change because I'm definitely not the same person that I was at 18, 19.
Very much same.
But there are some people that are stuck in their ways. And the change happens whenever they want it to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think what you mean is like changing kind of like their personality, just like stuff like that. But when it comes to evolving, I think that's a lot more like different. Cause kind of like how you said, when you're 18, you're not the same person.
Yeah.
Like I know earlier we were talking about how like when I was 18, dude, I thought I was going to be a makeup artist. Like I thought that's what I thought my whole life was going to be. I thought I was going to do makeup artistry. Like when you were younger, did you think you would be like doing this stuff, or did you want to do anything else?
I've definitely had a whole journey with like what I want to be, but I think when my consciousness started to really set in was like 9th grade. And that's when I started getting into modeling.
Oh, that's so
I was getting into modeling, and then I was posting like the photo shoot pictures on Instagram, and that kind of helped me build a following. So when I started to get that dopamine hit, I was like, I like this. Like I definitely want to. Yeah, this is kind of fun. I like putting myself out there. And then I did go on to college and I studied media. So I'm definitely like a full blown media baby. And a big part of it was like, okay, I want to expand into a talk show. Like I genuinely love talking to people. And this podcast kind of, I want to say fell on my lap, but it also didn't, because I really believe in like every step that you take one day like catches up to you for better or for worse. And this is like my for better, it came to me. I have a lot of help on it. And up until now, I haven't had any issues like getting guests on, simply because the circle around me is so amazing. So I kind of did envision this, but sometimes the manifestations come in different forms in ways that you actually didn't picture it. But here we are now.
Yeah.
What about you? When was your like shift from makeup artistry to actress?
So that is actually a really, really funny story that I tell like so many people. I love this story so much. So back when I went to makeup artistry, I was working at Ulta, and I was like, I want to say 18 or 19. I was like the youngest girl there. And it was really fun. I love makeup. I still really enjoy it. But I don't know, there was just something, like, okay, like I wanted to do modeling as well, but I didn't think it would actually happen because, I'm a bit shorter, more on the short side. And like, I have all these tattoos, and I didn't know I was going to do acting when I got them. I got them when I was like right when I was 18.
Yeah.
So I didn't think they would affect me later on. But one day there was like this girl that I used to be friends with, and she wanted to go to a psychic on Melrose. It's like, I don't know if you guys have like seen like on Melrose, like the angel wings.
Yes.
You know, like right next, it's like kind of by 2nd Street.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's always empty. Always empty. But we're just like walking by Melrose. I think we're like shopping that day. And she was like, there's a lady sitting there. And I'm like, that's so weird. Like I've never seen anyone actually sit there. I believe it's like you have to call in for an appointment or something.
Mhm.
So she kind of like knocks at the door, and the lady like welcomes in like both of us, and they start chit-chatting. And I'm just kind of sitting like on the side, because at the time I didn't really not that I didn't really believe in that kind of stuff, but I think I was like scared to believe in it.
Yes.
Especially like growing up in a super religious, like, you know, very strict Christian household. That was not really something that I tended to look for, really,
Right.
like, you know, psychic and stuff like that. Now I'm very spiritual, but this is
Yes.
back in the day. So after they're done having their conversation, my friend comes up to me. She's like, Tati, like, I really think you should talk to her. Like, trust me, she's so accurate. And I was like, I don't know, I'm scared. And sure enough, I did it. So I sit down, and she's like, tell me a little bit about yourself. So like I told her like the very just bare minimum, like, you know, oh, I do makeup artistry. I do this, I do that. That's it. And she tells me, well, you better stop doing that because you're not meant for this. And I was like, oh, like, what do you mean? Like the modeling, like, is that what she's talking about? And she was like, no, like, of course, like if you enjoy that, do it, but you're not meant to do any sort of like makeup artistry work. You're meant to be an actor. And I was like, it was so funny because I was like, girl, you're so like, yeah. And I was like, I'm probably getting scammed right now because
Yeah.
I've never even like, that's never even crossed my mind, acting ever in a million years.
Wow.
I'm too shy to do that. So I was like, okay, like, sure. You know, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, like, tell me more. And she just like, the more she tells me, she kind of starts telling me stuff that like, you know, obviously I didn't tell her, things that I was like, okay, like, wow, I'm kind of relating to her on a lot of things. And she tells me like, just trust me when you get home, try to figure out a way to audition for some stuff. Just trust me on this. You can come back and tell me that I was right. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So I get home and I was like, let's see. Let's test it out. So I downloaded Backstage.
I love
And
Backstage.
I love
Shout out
Backstage.
for real.
So I downloaded Backstage when I got home, and I auditioned for a couple things, and then I heard back from a couple people, and I started doing like small shoots here and there, and I discovered like, I really like this.
Yeah.
I was like, she was right. And then I started doing more and more, and then I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And something that did stick out to me, she told me, if you do start acting in June or July, you're going to be asked to be on like a really big show. Now, I don't know like what you're going to do on this show, but you're going to be in a really, really big show. And she was like, it might be like HBO or like Netflix or something. And I'm like, wow, it's kind of like crazy. Like, and that was like in 2 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I just start acting today, there's no way I'm going to get like an HBO show in 2 months. Like, come on now. Sure enough, I go on Backstage, and I booked, of course, it was a background role, but I got a background role on that HBO show. What was the name of it? It was like Westworld.
Yes.
And I got it within 2 months.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, it was Westworld.
Our running joke is that Tati drops new lore every
day.
Tuesday. Like,
Yeah.
you will be like, hey, I didn't tell you about that time that I was a police officer and then I went to the military, and we're like, when was
It
that?
happens to me so much because I just forget certain things, and then I remember, and I'm like, wow, this reminds me of the time that, like, you know, I was on Ransom at Mars. Like, I don't know, something like that. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
literally.
this reminds me of this.
So you did background for Westworld.
Yeah.
How was your background experience?
It was really exhausting, but very fun too. I made a lot of friends. And again, like, this is when I just started. So a lot of the people there were already pretty experienced, and they were like, how'd you start? And then I have to go into like my psychic story, and I look insane. And these people are like, oh, well, I started because I like theater. And I'm like, oh, I started because a psychic told me to.
I love
And
that.
I did end up going back, and she answered a lot of my other questions, and she's like, what'd I tell you? And I'm like, I know, dude, like, super fun to like, you know, like talk to someone who kind of like paved that little path for me.
Yes.
And what's so crazy about that, she was like, okay, well, if you have any more questions, like, you know, I'm always here. I go back, and I never saw her again.
She's gone.
She's gone. And every time like I would text her, call her, like the number, like, it just didn't work anymore.
Oh my
So-
God. she went out with the bang.
Yeah,
she was like this wasn't a cult enough. Like, I'm going to vanish now.
Yeah, I was like, girl, I have so many more questions to ask you because clearly like she gave me like a really cool path. Because think about it, I would not have met you.
Right.
I would have met Adam.
Like somehow
I'd die without Adam. Like, excuse me. Like,
what I think is really cool is that today you gave us the news. Also, side note, we live together.
Also, I'm like coughing up half a lung because LA's on fire. So
very true.
Sorry.
Very sad. And we did do our work. We did some volunteer hours.
Yeah.
And you know what I think is crazy? That they're not really covering the fact that things are still burning. Things are more contained, but somehow it's off the news. So remember, if you can help in any way with the fires or anything, make sure you do. Make sure you do your part.
Yeah. If anything, like I thought they were like more contained because no one was really speaking about it anymore. And I remember when we did the volunteer, or what was
the
it?
Drive.
We did like the drive.
Yeah.
And I remember like the air was like super, super thick back then too. And I was like, I think we should wear like
masks.
Like, the little masks and stuff. And like, I think after that, my cough just kind of like got worse.
Things definitely don't feel the same, but
definitely not. But I mean, I'm definitely getting a lot better. I feel like if you had asked me to do this last week, I would not have been able to get a sentence out without like,
I know.
Exploding.
I'm glad you're doing better. And I really hope that just everybody affected by the fire, like, was able to just get better, take steps in a brighter direction. Cause I cannot even fathom like just losing all of my stuff. And, I have close friends that lost their entire homes.
Yeah. I do know of like friends of my friends as well that have lost a lot of like their homes and like their spaces, like their work environments.
Yeah.
Too. Like I know a lot of my friends, like they lost like, the restaurant that she was working at.
Oh, wow.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
It was beautiful to see the community come together because when we got all the stuff together for the drive, we were calling places like, hey, can we take it here? Can we take it there? And they're like, we're full. So although it took a bit of work to figure out where we were going to take the things, it was nice to know that so many people came together and donated. And even the other day we went to Bobby's studio and he was doing an event where it was a drive, but it was also an opportunity to take pictures there. Like families who, lost all of their family pictures were able to go there, take some pictures and restart their collection.
So sweet.
Yeah. So it's nice to see people come together, but tragic nonetheless. I know we veered a little bit off to the side, but I think it really did deserve attention. But I would like to mention that you hit us with the news today that you got booked for a role in which you're going to be flying out to. So what a crazy, just pivotal point in your career.
I'm like so excited. I got asked, and it's so funny. It's literally on backstage.
Yeah.
Full circle moment. But I auditioned for this like a couple weeks ago and they ended up reaching back out and saying, oh my gosh, like, we would love to see like a self-tape. Like an updated one. I sent over an updated one. They wanted like another meeting. And then today is when they confirmed it in the morning. And it's supposed to be the story of Adam and Eve, which is so funny because like Adam,
Yeah. Ironic.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend's name is Adam, by the way. That's why it's funny that you're going to be playing Eve.
Yeah. It's so sick. And at first I thought like, are we doing like it like completely biblically accurate? Like, what are we doing? ¿Qué pasa? And they were like, no, it's going to be like an interpretation. It's like an art. It's kind of, like the Lana short film Tropico, how it like the very first like scene is kind of like a depiction of Adam and Eve. It's a very artsy way. It's kind of the same.
So cool.
The same situation. It's not this exact same like biblically accurate, but.
Yeah, I definitely see you for a Betty Boop live action.
I would love that.
If this reaches any directors, anybody who's going to make the Betty Boop live action, this is who you need, genuinely.
I love Betty Boop so much. She's my favorite cartoon character of all time. Like, I'm just obsessed with her. I kind of dress like her today.
Yeah, you did. I love it. What is interesting, talking about Betty Boop, you have a Betty Boop tattoo right there. How has having tattoos affected your actor's journey? Or has it even?
A little bit. So, like I said, I got all of these like the day after I turned 18. Like I wasted no time. I wanted them so bad because I love tattoos. I think they're just so fun. They're little cartoons all over your body, like customize your avatar, however they say.
Yes.
I really enjoy them. But like I said, I didn't know that I was going to be doing acting. So I got all of these tattoos. And then when I started acting, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it's quite difficult now. Like I didn't
'Cause some of
realize. I
them
didn't
are-
know.
I think people also don't realize, like, if you get a copywritten tattoo, meaning like you have some cartoon characters on you, so like that can become a bit harder to book.
Yeah. So luckily, like with the makeup artist background, like I was able to get like figure out how to cover them up. So that
Yes.
did end up helping me a little bit. But you know, like clearly like with certain headshots, you can still kind of see them poking out. Not
Yeah.
all makeup is perfect. They're still gonna show a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've definitely been on sets where like they make me only cover up like the what's it called? Like the cartoony ones, like
Right. Because they have copyright on them.
yeah. So like I was thinking like the Snow White or like
Mhm.
this one, but like the other ones, like they're fine with keeping.
Okay.
But yeah, like some of these, like I have like Lana lyrics right here. Like I have a Lana song right here. Like it's like all like so yeah.
Do you have any tattoo regret, or are you 100% happy with all of them?
The only I love all my tattoos. The only one I regret is an old friendship tattoo. It's this one. I don't want it anymore because you know, obviously, you know, like the copyright stuff. First of all,
Yes.
second of all, I feel like it's not really me anymore.
Right.
You know, that was like a whole other phase in my life. So if anything, I would just get rid of this one, but also like maybe just the copyright ones in general,
Yeah.
just to make it a bit easier. But
I hate to admit this to myself because I want to be the type of person who's like, oh, I love all my tattoos. They're so me. But I also got my tattoos literally upon turning like 18, maybe 19.
wasted no time.
Oh my God. And it's not that my tattoos are bad, but I'm just in a different point of my life. And you know, when I got my tattoos as a Libra, I'm very indecisive.
As
And
a Libra rising, I can agree.
And I knew that. And I was like, no, like, I'm not going to get tired of these. Like, they're dainty, they're small, and most of them are hidden. But I have this 777. And there's a couple of reasons why I don't like it anymore. Okay. I still believe in numerology. The angels are always speaking to me. But there's a couple things. For one, people use it as a conversation starter. And sometimes I just don't want to explain what 777 means, you know? Like some people are like, oh, 777, you're so lucky. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Like I just let people run with it at this point. But then, okay, Shoddy Bay
Oh my
got
God.
the same tattoo with the same placement.
It's funny because I don't really know who she is until you showed me a picture. And I'm like, I think I saw her like on my like feed once and I never really saw it again. But like who is that? I'm a little confused.
She is a Latina content creator. She's like in the Latino no, she's not Mexican. She's like in the Latino community of content creators. Very like live heavy. Like she likes to do like lip syncing stuff. And she's actually been on her content creator run for a really long time. Like she has been creating content for a lot of years. And she had like a really big blow up last year. Also, everything that I know about Shoddy Bay is against my will. I will say that. And yeah, she's like sometimes in drama. She like is a little boy crazy. Like she loves to have a boyfriend and pop out with them. Yes. Okay.
Diva.
Like who is this diva really? But she has 444s. And I will get comments sometimes and they'll be like, oh, you got the Shoddy Bay tat. And I'm like, I've been having this for years.
Before you even knew who that was. Yeah.
And I actually have a theory. I think Shoddy Bay is copying me. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay? It started to get uncanny. I don't really know if she knows me, but this is why I think Shoddy Bay is copying me. She got the tattoo. Same placement, numbers. Okay, slay. She popped out with this like diesel bag, one that is very similar to mine. I'm like, okay.
The silver one, right?
Yes.
That one looks so good on you.
Thank you. She got bangs around the same time that I got bangs. And then she went kind of red on her hair around the same time that I went red on the hair. And that's my tea.
Maybe you guys should just be friends.
Maybe we should.
Maybe you guys should have her on the podcast.
Yeah, Shoddy Bay, if you're watching this, we might need you on the pod. And I'm not mad if you're copying me. Sometimes I'm iconic. So
totally.
But yeah, I don't like that about my tattoo. I also have a hand one, which is so bold of me because like I'm not even tatted anywhere else. So I felt like getting it's not big, but it's not small. And I let one of my friends do it when she was just practicing tattooing. So it's a little crooked and some letters are darker than the other. And
she was like practicing, huh?
Yeah, and I don't like when people ask what it is. It's nothing bad, but it's just the fact that it's kind of shitty.
Well, I mean, it's a nice little story, and I don't think it looks shitty. I think it looks lovely on you.
Well, you're the sweetest person I know, so I will take it. But yeah, the tattoo regret bug has bit me.
You were like her little guinea pig in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know how like I do the freckles all the time, right? So they're like, obviously they're not real. I do them every single day, but I have been doing them every single day for the past like 4 or 5 years. And it was to the point that I was like, should I just get them tattooed? Like it'll save me a lot of time in the morning. I have to go and like buy the little freckle tubes anymore every 3 months when I run out. So I found this girl on Instagram who does like, you know, like she was offering a service of tattooing freckles.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, like I'm interested. So I asked to see her work and she was like, well, you know, I don't really have a portfolio yet. Like I just started. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to like be the guinea pig because think about like, your face, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like one thing is a tattoo, you know, okay, maybe you can like shuffle it away. Like I don't know.
Cover up, but you can't cover up if she messes up your face.
So I was like, okay, like give me some time to think about it. Like, you know, I'll see like how your work progresses.
Yeah.
So that was like about a year or two ago. Recently I found her page again and I saw the freckles that she does now. And you know, I can see that she is good, but it's just not really my style. She does it very like cartoony, which you would think I would like, but I feel like when it comes to freckles, it should look a bit more natural.
Yes.
I say that as they're like plastering on my face. Yeah. Not as natural as you would want, but hers were a bit more like cartoonish, you could tell. Yeah. So I am grateful that I didn't end up doing it, but I mean, hey, if anyone wants to do natural ones on me, I'd love to.
Yeah, I think, you know, I have seen a couple people do the tattooed freckles, but most of the time, I don't know, because there's like a healing process. So you're going to have to be like behind the scenes for a bit. You got to hope they heal well.
What if you don't even like them after, you know?
Yeah. And then, yeah, like I'm even thinking like removal just sounds like scary. Like, I don't know if I want to get my tattoos removed. It looks like it's more painful than actually getting the tattoo.
I heard it's like pretty painful.
Yeah, but then I also don't want to do a cover up on this because in order to cover it up, like I'm going to need like a fat ass tattoo. And I don't really want that. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe eventually I'll be like, I'll laser it off. They say that red ink is like a little bit easier to get rid of.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, at least my hand one. And then I don't know. Maybe I'll cover up the 777s with something like dainty. But I also have a friendship tattoo. You can't see it, but it's
I didn't know you had a friendship tattoo.
I do. Luckily, we're still friends. It's Anna. You know Anna. Yes, Anna. My first college roommate and I.
That's so sweet.
We got these two mushrooms kind of like leaning against each other, and like they're cute. But like, I don't even do shrooms anymore. Like it was a phase, Mom. You're right, Mom. It was a phase. And I'm just like, I just think it's not really a representation of me. Like they're cute. And it does symbolize like just us bonding and like certain trips that we took together. But now I'm like, okay, did I need that on my body though? Probably.
Was that necessary?
Yeah, it was like the shrooms took a hold of me for a bit, but we made it out, guys. We made it out. Now, I mean, I wasn't doing it like every day, but yeah, I think sober living is the best living.
Yeah, I think that is for the best. I've only done that like 2.5 times. Okay. I say half because one time a friend and I, like we micro. Yeah. I felt absolutely nothing. Okay. We just skated around downtown for a little bit and then we went home. So I count that as the half.
Yeah. I think like it's best to learn. I'm not anti anything, but I think it's best to learn to just like live within your actual life. You know what I mean? And like, I think everything is good within limitations and like just knowing that you can step away and that it's an experience and it's not your entire life. And like, at the end of the day, you got to come down from the high and like live your actual life.
Yeah, I agree. That's why like, you know, I don't really do anything anymore. Like, well, I didn't really back then either. Like I said, I did that twice. And then I remember like I smoked weed for like a good period of my life. I want to say like 2 years. I really enjoyed it. And then randomly one day I was like kind of anxious. I should probably stop. And then
that happened to me too.
Yeah. And then I just quit. Like literally wasn't even like a weaning down process. It was just I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it since then. That was like,
I feel the same. I feel like it just got to a point where I'm like, I'm scared actually.
Yeah,
like
me too. I was like,
fun. I'm paranoid. Like, let's get off of this now.
I was like, time to get out of here.
Yeah. And on that note, crazy pivot, but it just came to mind. You were set up to be a nun.
Oh my God. Yes. Imagine
How
someone
was
from my
that?
church sees this.
Oh God.
Well, oh wow, I'm like drama dumping right now. But
No,
basically,
this is what we're here for.
so my mother, she's still very Christian.
Yeah.
Still very Christian. I believe she was raised Catholic. She converted it when she was 21
Okay.
ish. So my mother comes to the US. She meets my father, and then they have me and Leo, and like I kid you not, the second I was like born, they were like in the church. Not so much my father, like he's not very religious, but my mom is. So every Sunday, every Friday, and then some Wednesdays, we weren't really frequent, but it was about 2 or 3 times a week.
That's a lot of church.
Yeah. And I feel as though I feel kind of bad saying this because, there were some super sweet people there, but I do think they like it was a bit brainwashy in a way. Cause I remember like, I think that's what contributed a lot to like my shyness, because I'd be scared like 24/7. Like, what if I say something like sinful, or, what if I do something wrong? My bad. But I keep blaming it on like the smog in the air. But yeah, it's like just growing up, I'd be so nervous of everything. That's why I didn't really like speaking, it's like we would just be it would be drilled into our brains. Like, you do something wrong, you're going to hell. Like, that's it. And I was like, so it really freaked me out. And then, I couldn't really make friends either, because at my church, they'd be like, don't surround yourself with people that aren't super Christian. So, obviously elementary school, middle school, I wouldn't really be able to connect with the kids, because I'm like, what if I'm friends with someone atheist and I go to hell? So, it was like stuff like that. So I was like terrified of everything. And then, like my parents kind of wanted to set, or my mom, I don't know why I keep saying like both of them. Like my mom kind of wanted to set me like completely in the church, like completely. And, there were some really, really sweet people there. I made some friends that I'm still really good friends with to this day at that church. But it's kind of funny because they've also kind of migrated away from those beliefs. I remember like I really stopped when I was like 18. Even when I was like 16, 17, I was already kind of planning my escape in a way. I was already plotting, but it wasn't until I was like officially 18 that I just kind of like stopped going altogether, because before I'd make excuses. I'd be, I'm not feeling too well today, I don't really want to go, or like, I'm busy with like schoolwork, like it was just always something. And I could see like, my mom was getting like more and more frustrated. And then I told you this like last week. I thought it was kind of funny. Like, now that I think about it, it's kind of funny, but in the moment it was so scary. So it was like the last day that I like went like officially. Dude, I don't know why my mom did this, but like it was going around like telling like so many people at our church, like, obviously the adults and stuff. And the hermanas and hermanos, it's a very Hispanic church.
Yes.
Should I say which church it is?
You don't have to say which church it is.
It's in the IE, but it's a very Hispanic church in the IE.
Yeah.
And my mom was just like telling all the hermanas and hermanos, like, oh, my daughter's so rebellious and she doesn't want to go to church anymore. She has tattoos now, and like, orale. So anyway, like one of the very last days that I went, I remember like just a bunch of people came up to me, and I was like, oh no, who are these people? And they just kind of approached me like, you don't want to go to church anymore? Like, it's kind of like guilt tripping me a little bit. And then I didn't mention this part to you, but when I was around 12 or 13 at that church, I had like, they have like the youth leaders and stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember like our youth leaders were like this older couple, like probably like their early 20s, early mid 20s, really sweet people. I love them so much. But the girl, me and her, like we would like chit chat here and there. I just saw her as like, my youth leader.
Right.
And my mom mainly told her, she was like snitching to her about everything I was doing. And I'm like, why would you make me like, but how, you know how Pisces are.
Yeah.
They like to exaggerate.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding. I don't think it's because of that at all. I'm just joking. But I think, just moms in general like to kind of exaggerate the truth a little bit.
Yes.
So, she was kind of like making it seem like I was like doing drugs and going out and I was not doing any of that. Like I wasn't,
just didn't want to be a part of the church as heavily.
As heavily. Like I told her, like I still believe certain aspects, claro, but I'm not like fully into this. And then, just seeing like certain things happened there, which, I don't think I can really speak about yet, but just like in general. But I would just notice certain things and like, I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy there, but my mom was telling them that I was doing this and that. So I remember like that couple was there too. And it sucked because, I've known since I was 12 and just seeing them come up to me like, why are you doing this? Just kind of like making me feel so bad. I'm like,
no.
I just don't really want to be as like involved anymore. And like, it just made me feel like, oh my gosh, it was so awkward. Just imagine like a whole bunch of adults just around you, like, so are you really turning to the dark side? And I'm like, what? What did I
like?
do?
I just don't want to come to church 4 times a week.
Yeah, I was like, or I didn't like relax. So I was like,
does your mom still go there?
You know what's funny? She stopped going there because of that situation. Because
my God.
Basically after that, I just never went back. I was like, this is so uncomfortable. This is so awkward. And I had a friend who, you know his friend, but that did go to that church as well. But like I said, they've also kind of migrated away. But he shared with me, like, because we were talking about like church and going and stuff. And he was like, yeah, like a lot of people there were saying that like just like not nice things, about how like
you.
Yeah, well, just about everyone in general. It's when it's like a smaller church, people like to chit chat. So especially about, the hot topic,
the chisme.
Like chismazo.
Right.
So they were like, no, like this girl's like rebellious and like making her poor mom like do this and that and like, just a bunch of crazy stuff. So I was like, yeah, I think it's for the best that I probably don't go back. But anyway, my mom stopped going. She stopped attending that one. She went to a different one because during that situation, like, I don't think the pastor was there. It was just like more of the adults involved in the church, but like the pastor himself he wasn't involved in that. But my mom she wanted him to talk to me personally. And he didn't want, I don't think he ever did.
Yeah.
So because of that, she left.
She was like, you're not going to be on my side. I'm out of here.
And I'm like, Mom, like the poor guy. Like,
but shout out to the pastor for being like,
he didn't
it's her decision. Like if she doesn't want to come, she doesn't. It's funny because I actually come from a background of nuns a little bit. Yes. On my mom's side, her mom had 4 sisters in the convent. And they were all supposed to go to the convent. Like my grandma was supposed to go to the convent. Like by this much, I wasn't born. But my grandma was the youngest and had a little bit more leeway. And she had seen like, because there's like a ritual that's done when you like become a nun. Like the things that I have heard is like, you start with a flower crown and then you like let go of the flower crown and you have to put on the crown of thorns, like the one that Jesus had, and your like hair gets cut off. And I don't know if this is for everybody, but like I know in that sector of like the Catholic Church, and that my grandma saw this ritual being done to her sisters and she was like, fuck no.
Really?
And
oh my gosh.
I don't know how, but she was able to get away with it. It was just her and one of her other sisters that were able to I think her other sister was in the convent and might have escaped it. Like, I think she ran away. And at that point, their dad was just kind of like tired. And he was like, all right, well, 3 out of 5 or like 4 out of 6, whatever. I don't know how many there are. He was like, well, I got that many in the convent, like whatever, you guys could go ahead and do you. But yeah, I'm like, that's just a crazy thing.
Yeah. The fact that, I don't want to say like forced, but it's very much like heavily suggested.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. It really is heavily suggested. And my grandma married my grandpa and he was like, not the opposite, like not religious, because he was still, they met in the church as well. But he just like grew up different. Like his side of the family was like the very lively side of the family. And he kind of like was able to change her life a little bit in the sense of like, my grandma would tell this story about how my grandpa bought her this like red dress, right? And growing up, my grandma wasn't allowed to wear like anything colorful. It was all just gray and black, and everything was turtleneck, like you completely covered. And
color sounds so sad though.
I know. So my grandpa was buying her clothes, right? And she's like in the town at this point, she's like living with my grandpa, and that her dad is coming from the rancho. So at this point, it's like she was living in the town and her dad still lived in the rancho. So that he was coming, literally like coming in on a horse, and that he looked at her and she like turned around, she saw him, and he just looked at her and shook his head and he turned around, and that he didn't talk to her for like a little while.
Really?
And so my great grandma goes to talk to my grandma and is like, what were you wearing this day? Like he came back home and he was so upset, and like, what scandalous item were you wearing? And she was like nothing. Like it was still the full length dress, but it was like a bright color. And he was like shook to the core.
From the red dress.
From the red dress.
I need to see this red dress.
I wish I could. I don't think it's in existence anymore, but it is crazy to think that just a couple generations before us, like life was 1,000,000,000% different. Like not just a little, it was a full 180, 360, whatever it is, that they were living such a different life. Like my grandma literally grew up on a ranch, like tending to the fields. And like, here I am hosting a podcast. Like, what is life? And that was just one generation ago, you know?
No, for sure. Especially with like geographically too, you know, like I don't know. I think about like back then too, kind of like how you were saying back in like, I'm sure that was like the 40s or the 50s or something.
Yes.
And you say your family was from where? It was
From
Jalisco, right?
Yeah.
Mine was from Veracruz, so I hear pretty similar stories as well. Obviously not to that level for sure, but they've definitely told me some really crazy stories from back then too, where I'm like, wow, life was really different. Like not only time wise, but also just geographically. Like this probably would not have happened in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know,
I know that your grandmother is a painter.
Yeah.
Correct? Would you like to talk about her a little bit?
She's amazing. She's like she's my everything. I love her so much. She has a little, well, she had, I found out recently that they ended up selling it, which I was so devastated about. But she has like an art gallery in Cordoba, and it's so pretty. And I'd go there all the time growing up. And sorry. So she's been painting her whole life. And kind of like how you were saying about how, you know, certain cultures and especially back then were a bit different. Back then, I think it was frowned upon for women to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So she really, really wanted to go to art school, but they didn't let her. And I don't think they could afford it either way. So she ended up being self-taught, and which I think is insane, because if you see her work, it's like, there's no way, like how? But, you know, some people are just talented like that. And, you know, it wasn't even her art gallery. It was her father's.
Wow.
I think he was an artist, or I don't know what he sold there before, but he had like a gallery where he sold a lot of stuff. So he obviously passed it down to her, and she would sell her art there. She'd do art classes. And I grew up going there all the time, and it's really pretty. It's still on Google Maps. Sometimes I just look at it and I'm like, oh, you know, but I found out last month that they sold it because she's getting older now, and she can't really go there as often anymore. But yeah, I think it's like a clothing store now.
Yeah.
But I know if I go, well, obviously I'm going to go back and like visit her, but I'm going to be so sad when I see it gone, because I didn't even get to say like a full goodbye. Yeah. Is the thing. I thought I still had a little bit of time left, but because I remember when I went last year, it was still there, but like halfway, if that makes sense. Like my uncle like took half the store, you know, because obviously she can't really take care of it. And he was he does like window installations over there.
Yeah.
So he had like, you know, his stuff and like half of her stuff. So I thought, okay, like it's salvageable. Maybe like I'll be able to,
Keep
I don't know,
paintings
like,
there.
Yeah, like keep something there. And then not even a couple months later, my mom's like, oh, like we sold it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It really does sadden me sometimes thinking about how life is so fragile in the sense of like everything burning down around us, and then like the childhood store being sold, like just all the
That
changes.
broke my heart.
Yeah, all the changes that we're going to face like in this lifetime. And, we're in our 20s and I'm already seeing like my grandma passed away, I believe 2 years ago. Her death anniversary just passed.
Very recent.
Yeah. Yeah. And, through her passing, I mean, there's just been so many changes in the family, especially like in a big Hispanic family. I mean, my grandma had 12 kids.
Wow.
When someone passes away, especially like a head of household, things shatter. Like, I really feel like my grandma was the glue keeping so many things together. And inevitably, you know what happens after? They start fighting over terrenos.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's
can get quite tricky there. It can get tricky. Very, very tricky.
Yeah. A family's always going to fight over land.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want to, like, it just seems that that's like the curse. Like, that's just like the thing they're going to have to figure
someone's
out.
Someone's going to be fighting over something. I wanted to fight too. I'm like, give me the gallery.
Yeah.
Like, I want it.
Real. I know. And my grandma, she still has this like beautiful ranch. There's like a cabin on it. There's a whole kitchen with the stone oven. And it's technically all of her kids, right? But like, of course, all of her kids have their own lives. And like in these past 2 years, people have been tending to it. Like my aunts and uncles have been tending to it. But I'm like, when we get older, like who is going to tend to the ranch? Like, I just really hope and pray that it never goes downhill, because if I have to move to Mexico and take care of that rancho,
I'll go with you.
I will. Yes, please. We could have
lambs.
Yeah, a commune and lambs.
And Adam can shuffle.
And Adam can shuffle
like in the barn.
Yeah, literally.
He's working on his stuff.
That's so cute. Have you ever wanted to have a farm?
Only like a baby lamb farm. I don't know. I feel like I'm not really cut out for like farm life. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'd be like, where's the coffee shop? Like, like what's going on?
You gotta brew your own coffee.
No, we're not doing that. No. But
do you know if you have lambs, you got to pick up the poop?
Oh no. I'm like a little kid, when they're like, oh, like, I want to pet like a dog or cat, and your parents like, okay, like, can you take care of it? And you're like, well, I can pet it for a couple minutes.
I remember when you really wanted to get a bunny from Santee Alley.
I wanted that bunny so bad. You guys
asked
about
us,
it.
And I was like, who's cleaning up the poop? And she was like, you guys? I was like, oh, that's not this word. Now I know how my mom felt when, bro, I begged my mom for a puppy for years of my childhood. Like, bro, I was putting on theatrics, not gonna lie. Like,
the PowerPoint slide.
Me and my mom would sleep in the same bed, right? And I remember this phase so specifically, and I'm a little bit embarrassed, where before bed I'd be like, so can we get a puppy? And she'd be like, you already know the answer, and it's no. And I would just start crying. But like, I kind of had it planned out for a little while until I got tired. Like, I knew I was going to put on the waterworks and be like, this time it's going to work. And she was like, no. like girl, like, no. Literally no, never. Like, once you get your own place. And I'd be like, give me reasons why. And she's like, because it's my home and we're not having animals here. She doesn't like the idea of a lot of things. For one, cleaning up after the animal. And for two, she didn't like the idea of the animal getting sick and dying and us having to deal with it.
Yeah, like emotional.
Yeah. And now I so get it. Like, I really want a hairless cat, but I'm like, bro, if I got to take it to the vet and oil its skin and like, I have to.
It's like a child. If you think
it is a child. Like, it's not just having a cute little animal and like, haha, pet it and feed it. Like, it's literally work. Vet bills are real. Like, do not get an animal just because you think they're cute.
Yeah. I wish I could have a pet lamb so bad, but I don't think that'd be practical. Especially downtown.
Especially in downtown.
It's like a lamb in downtown.
Bruh, our house would be smelling like a farm, literally. And that doesn't smell too good.
We can have them in the living room, maybe. No. You're like, no.
We can't. My OCD would literally I would explode if we had one. But I like them in theory.
Yeah, me too. I love them. I love lambs.
Maybe we could hide it like where the pool is upstairs.
Imagine like just like a runaway, a lamb just like running around in circles by the pool.
Like, hey, we found a lamb. Don't know whose it is. We'll take care of it, not in our apartment, but we'll come up and feed it.
That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. The apartment complex should have like a petting zoo.
I think so too. Yeah.
That'll suggest that. Yeah. When I was in college and we had final exams, they would bring animals that we could pet. Like sometimes it was puppies, sometimes it was like farm animals. And you were able to like de-stress by like going and petting all of these animals.
Your college had a lot of ducks around the pond.
Yes, you did know about that, right?
Because I used to live in that area, which is so crazy. Just the weirdest coincidence how you were like, yeah, I went to CSUN. And I'm like, bro, I used to live right next to CSUN.
Yes.
So like I'd visit it. And like, you know, because I like the little pond with the little duckies and I'd always be chasing the ducks. Let me pet you.
Yeah, they did not
Those
allow
ducks
it.
did not like that.
I was actually just reminiscing about my college years and I realized that I didn't take full advantage of what college was for me. Like I should have been walking around the campus more. Like I should have really been.
It's a beautiful campus. It's huge.
Yeah.
I got so lost there one time.
Yes. I want to go back and just like have a little picnic in that little orange area. You know where they have all the orange trees?
I don't know. Like I said, college is like so big.
Yeah.
So I do know.
It's kind of near the pond.
I do. I thought those were lemons for the longest time.
No, they're oranges.
Hey.
And we weren't allowed to pick them.
You were?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. I think we should have been able to have
Yeah. Like, what are they going to do? Like fall on the floor?
Yeah, I know. They were falling on the floor, rotting. It was pretty sad. I always like to ask my guest, what are some of your favorite food recommendations in LA?
Like spots?
Yeah. Or anything that you really enjoy.
Well, I feel like I eat the same thing every day. Literally, like I eat the same thing every day. But 3 spots in LA.
Yeah, any that you could think of.
I like sticky rice.
Sticky rice is
love sticky rice. It's so
oh my
good.
God. Sticky rice mentioned.
Yeah, like they have them. There's one in Echo Park. You know what's so funny? They actually have one at the Grand Central Market.
They do.
I didn't see it, but I saw someone wearing the uniform and I'm like, Ariana, what are you doing here? Like, hello.
But the sad thing about sticky rice is like the main thing we love to go for, which is their mango sticky rice, is always out.
Always. It's so sad. I'm like, girl, come back. Like, what are you doing?
And they have the best mango sticky rice. Like, I actually used to make mango sticky rice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got to make some for you. But the sticky rice one, they're the best.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. I got a coconut today at Hank's. You remember Hank's?
I do remember Hank's.
Do you think Hank's is going to be the next Air One?
I'm not sure. I think Air One is just so iconic. And they have the smoothies are so good.
What's your Air One order?
So I really like the, what's it called? It's like their macaroni. You know how I feel about the macaroni?
Yes,
I will not shut up about it. I like the salmon there. I'm just like a salmon fan.
Yeah.
And I love like what's the strawberry glaze smoothie?
The Hailey Bieber smoothie.
Yeah, I love it so much.
I'm a coconut cloud girly. As you guys can see, I do like coconuts. But Hank's, I think, is on the come up. Like there's only one right now in downtown LA, I think.
Is it new? Like has it been there for a while?
You know what? I don't really know. But I think it's more on the new side. Additionally, they're opening one, I think like Arts District. So I think Air One, you know like what Air One is to like Hollywood area, I think Hank's is going to be to LA.
Really?
That is my foodie prediction of the year.
Foodie prediction? It's like that girl Coco. I love her. She's so iconic.
Absolute shout out to Coco Mocha.
Shout out to her. It's like, you know how she does like the artist, like, you know, who's going to come up and stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like that's you. Yeah, I feel like that's you with like food predictions.
Yes. No, I love Coco Moco. She's definitely one of my favorite creators. Shout out Coco Moco. And there's not too many creators that I get excited about because I just try to like post and get off the app. So I don't feel attached to anybody, but her, I definitely am. And it's funny because I had gone to this event and we were there for like probably 10 minutes. And we're like, yeah, whatever. And we went home. And then I see Coco Moco post
at the event,
like, get ready with me to go to this event. And I'm like, bro, I was just there and I missed her. And I would have loved to meet her and just be like, I love your content. And there's not too many people I feel that way about.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. There's like a few people I do watch. I'm like, wow, like, you know, I like your stuff. But there's only like a good like handful that I'm like, wow, like I've been watching you since I was like,
Yes.
like 12.
Yeah.
There is
absolutely.
like one actually, like I don't know if you watch her, but Alicia Marie.
No, I don't know her.
Oh my gosh, I actually like I credit her to how I got into like beauty and like fashion and stuff because I started watching her when I was 12. And
Wow.
literally, I remember like I messaged her on Instagram in like 2012. Like I commented under something because we had DMs back then. On Insta, there was no DM.
That's true. There was a life before DM.
Yeah. So I remember I commented something like, I love your videos. I was like a little ass kid. And she actually responded. This is when she had like 8,000 followers or something. And then fast forward, like now she's like really big. And it's funny because she frequents a lot of the spots that we go to, but I've never ran into her, which I think is so funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I ever meet her, I want to be like, dude, like you got me onto like fashion, like everything.
One day it's gonna align and you're gonna get to meet her.
One day, there's some.
Is she the one that you saw the hair from?
Oh no, that was just someone that I found on TikTok.
Okay,
that I was like scrolling and I'm like, oh, I love like her stuff, but I don't really know like.
Oh my God. How did you feel about TikTok being down for like 2 hours?
Well, the thing is like the only reason I even have TikTok.
What is this? Is there things in there?
I'm not sure.
What if it's just a prop and there's nothing in there?
Be a prop. You'll have to.
There are snacks. Would you like a snack or are you okay? Let's see.
Hello, what is that?
Mystery package. Let's see. I'm a little bit picky when it comes to snacks, so don't hate me if I turn this down. Let's see. Actually, I think I could deal with this. A cookie?
It's popcorn.
Oh.
This is so cool. What is this? Hello Kitty barbecue chips.
ASMR. ASMR.
Bro, me coughing every 2 seconds is upsetting me.
No, you're good. We'll try our little snack. Rate the Hello Kitty snack 1 to 10.
It's kind of sweet. Very strange. I've never had a sweet barbecue chip. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
1 to 10. What's the vibe?
I'd say like a good 6 or 7.
Okay. You fooled me with this is really good. I thought you were gonna hit me with the 9.
Well, it's nice. Like
Okay.
it's love, like I'd munch on it.
I'm not much of a like sweets cookie person, but it's actually a coconut cookie, which is really interesting because I'm drinking the coconut juice. But I'd give this like a 5. Like it's not bad, but I wouldn't reach for it.
Yeah.
I want to end off with a fun coconut story because I'm just thinking about it now. So my parents got divorced.
You're like, this is a fun story. That's how it starts off.
My parents got divorced when I was like 6, right? And I kind of grew up with my dad being absent. I promise the story gets fun at one point. And my mom gave me the news, like, your dad will be living elsewhere and won't really be coming around. And I remember that the first thing out of my mouth was, well, who's going to break the coconuts?
Oh my God.
Because my dad used to bring coconuts and he'd like break them.
There's
like,
no way that was your first response.
I was so afraid of never eating a coconut again in my life. And I remember that my mom just kind of had a little laugh and she was like, I will be able to break the coconut.
I can break the coconut.
My little child brain couldn't fathom, I was like, no, this is the father role. He breaks the coconut. What do you mean he's gone?
That's the bearer of the coconut. What do you mean?
He was the bearer of the coconut to me. And yeah, he never broke another coconut again.
Well, he can break it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to learn. I'm going to have to crack this coconut open after.
You weren't able to open it?
What a coming of age story.
Well, you weren't able to open the coconut right now?
So I'm not going to lie. I had one of these earlier. Yeah, but it's just a tiny little hole. I had one of these earlier and the plan was to go home and open it. And we were having trouble. So we might have to go out. No, we cannot break this on downtown LA floor. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out how to open this coconut, but I'll let you guys know how that goes on the next episode of the Playroom podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Tati.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Let them know where they could find you.
I have an Instagram. It's CherryCakeDoll.
CherryCakeDoll. Isn't that so on brand for her? One thing about you is that your brand is so on point. You're
Thank
killing it
you.
in every avenue that you step onto. I admire you so much. And I'm sure that the next time you're on here, you're going to be in a feature film. So,
Oh my gosh, you're making me cry. I love you. Thank you so much.
of course, thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Dre Goldie, and tune in with us next time.
The Playroom Podcast. Don't panic, it's organic.